Hi, my name is Lorraine Watry and welcome to my studio. I am a watercolor artist and I've worked with watercolor for 26 years now, and I thought I would start a new series of videos where I go over different tips, tricks, and techniques for working with watercolor. And hopefully these short videos will help you in your journey, and if you have a question or a technique that you would like to see, please comment below and I will try to accommodate that in a future video. Hi, today's tip and trick video is actually going to be a demonstration, and I am working on a project to send some 4x6 postcard size paintings to a venue, and they will use these images or paintings to help purchase, to use toward a purchase award. And so I am working on some hummingbird paintings, and I am going to be putting in the backgrounds. And so there's a couple different aspects to this. I have a rufous hummingbird on the left side over here, and the photo that I took, I really like the hummingbird itself, but the background is really boring. And so I want to put some more color around the bird, make it look maybe like it's near some flowers, and just use the hummingbird to pull that out of the image. And then the one on the right side is a very dark background, and my printer didn't print it very well. If you can see that in the video, there's some lines running through it. But the hummingbird is silhouetted against the red flowers. And so this one is also one that I am going to play with the colors in the background. All right, so I'll move those out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of paper over the right side, because as I'm working on this one, I don't want to accidentally drop paint on the other side. And then one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to test my colors that I might use on this one. And I have used some of these colors in a previous painting, but I want to get an idea if what I'm thinking is going to work. So because this hummingbird is a rufous hummingbird and on the rusty orange side of things, then I want a dark background for one, but I also want to put in a little bit of some color that will be interesting around that rusty orange. And so I'm pulling out Perylene green first, and then I might mix that with some quinacridone lilac to make it a little darker, a little more muted in places. And I can show you the Perylene by itself right quick. And I'm also thinking of putting some purples, like there may be some purple flowers behind the bird. So this is Perylene by itself, and it's just a nice dark green. And then if I mix it with, get just a touch more out. I have a side palette over there I'm pulling it off of because I don't have enough room on this current palette. Yeah, so if I add the Quin Lilac, that just deepens that dark green, and doesn't make it black, but it's a nice deep green color. It probably looks a little black on the video, so we'll have to see what it looks like once it's dry. And the other thing that I want to get out is my Quin Gold. And Quin Gold is a nice color by itself. It's a little muted yellow. And if I mix it with some of the Perylene green, I get a nice warm kind of olivey green color that would be nice to use. And then I'm going to get out, I'm going to try, I have two different purples that I can try. I have a Quin purple, and I don't know if this is going to be purple enough. It might be. And I also have Carbazole Violet, and maybe I'll use both. I'll have to see. So this is Quin purple, and it's a redder purple. Comparatively, once I pull out my carbazole, you'll see that carbazole is a cooler purple. So I can do that. I may just use the Quin purple with my Perylene green instead of the lilac, but okay, so then this is the carbazole violet, and it is a cooler purple. Oops, off the screen there. So I have those as possibilities, and I'm going to do this as a wet on wet background. So actually what I will do right quick is just do a little sample on my little swatch here. So if I just take a little color on my brush still, just put down some water and I'll get out those colors that I was thinking of using. Touch of the warmer green in there. I almost like I almost like the more vibrant yellowy green, but I don't know. I think I like some of the dark green as well. And so this is not to be anything exactly. It's just to give me an idea if these colors will work together. And then maybe some of the cooler purple. So I think they work together, and then what I want to do is give myself a hint of that, whoops, can't see that, a hint of the Hummingbirds color next to these guys. It is very smoky in the air today where I am, and it's causing my throat to be a little hoarse and dry. All right, so that's that rusty color is Quin Sienna, and it is almost exactly the color I'm seeing on the Hummingbird. And I think I like it against those purples and purple pinks, and the greens. So I think I will go ahead and use it. And because these are small paintings, if for some reason it doesn't quite work out, I can always draw it out again right quick if I needed to. Move that out of the way. And I will want to get out a little more of the Perylene green. I think I may have enough of everything else, but I want to make sure, because that's the color that I'll be using the most of. Just want to have enough extra on the palette. I'm making a mess over here, which you can't see, which is a good thing. All right, I am pulling out clear water with my big brush, and I have a video that shows how I use masking tape to mask like I did for the Hummingbirds. So if you go back through the videos, or I'll try to remember to link it below. I always forget what number it is. But you can also use the search on my channel and just type in masking tape or any subject that you're looking for. You can use that search to type in the subject, and it will bring up any video that I have done on that subject, if I have. All right, because I have quite a few of these tip and trick technique videos now. I think this is number 74 or 75. Trying to get a hair off of that corner. Okay, so I have quite a bit of water on the paper, and so now I'm going to be adding the pigment. I can't talk. And actually I think I want to go with my lighter colors first, and then I can fill in with the darker values. And I'm imagining kind of tall, thin flowers behind the hummingbird. So this one is going to have a little bit of a longer mark, whereas some of the others that I have done recently are round circles, like there's flowers behind the bird that are round in shape, round in form. And I have flowers in my yard that are long and thin like this, so this would work well to mimic that. And actually I should probably stop on that for a second and come in with the yellow green, because that is still lighter than the darkest color, which will be my dark green. And it's always interesting when I'm playing with a background where I'm kind of making it up. Well, I am making this one up, not kind of. And just trying to decide if I like it as I'm doing it. And sometimes you just have to wait until you're done, maybe even until I get the bird mask off and start working on the bird. Will I know if I like it or not? I think I want a little more yellow-green over in here. So this is more of the Quin Gold in the mix. And the Rufous hummingbird does have, the males do have a little bit of green up on the backs of their heads. This male is an older male, older adult male. When they're younger, they don't have as much orange. They go oranger as they get older. I think I'm saying that correctly. If I've got that a little off, you're welcome to note it down below. Okay. And his head is definitely lighter than the area around. So I want to make sure there's enough color around his head and neck that stands out. And I think everything else is alright. So I think I will leave that one as it is and just go ahead and dry, take off some of the moisture down below. So I've dried my brush and I am just touching it gently. I'm not trying to take off pigment, I just want to take off that extra moisture. And then if this dries too light, which right now I don't think it's going to, I think it's going to be all right. Then I could come back and re-wet and I could add more color where I think it would maybe need it. There is a white line going down right here and a little bit right there that I don't have on the other side. So I'm going to see if I can just lift a little bit of color just to give myself a little bit of a highlight over here as well. And maybe one or two more. And they will start to have hard edges once this starts to dry a little more. So I need to just be careful that I pause once I start to notice those harder edges. There was a little bit of that happening up there. And maybe I'll put just a little bit right here. I'm loving the Quinn purple. Hopefully it will stay as vibrant as it is right now. And that is pretty dry right there. So I am really pushing. Probably should pause and not do any more because everything else is drying quite a bit. So I will leave that alone and I will go over to the next one. Last thing, I just realized I want to lift the tape, or not the tape, the paint and water that's on the tape so that it doesn't accidentally get brushed by me and move on to the painting. Okay, good enough. All right, so this video is not going to show the painting of the birds. If I video it and have some time or continue with this next time I do a video, then I might include that as a video for the follow-up of this one. But for now, it's just working on the backgrounds. And for this one, I know I want to put some areas that are more circular, because when you take a photograph, there is round things. If you zoom in on your subject and there's something in the background that then becomes blurry, those things often turn into a little round shape. And so that's called bokeh. And so I'm going to use that idea in this painting. And I'll use some of the same colors. I'll use the greens, and I actually want to clean this off. I think I got a little red in that mix. So I want it not to be muted. And I am going to clean off the Quinn purple. And I'm going to get out some phthalo turquoise. And it is a newer pigment on my palette. I really like it. I may end up using some peacock if it's not quite bright enough, but I'll start with this. Might work just fine. And then I'll have some yellow greens. So I think I'm going to get out some new gamboge. So the Quinn Gold is not as vibrant as the new gamboge, so this green will be a little brighter. And I'm going to clean one edge of the perylene green so that I can have a cleaner area to use with the new gamboge. And I'll just get some out for over here. And then I will go ahead and put some on this other side to use with the Quinn lilac. I said I was going to use the Quinn purple with the perylene green, and I didn't end up doing that, but the Quinn lilac works, so. And this one I have done this particular color mix before, so I won't do what I did on the first one where I tested the colors. Okay. And then I'm going to use my big brush to put some water on the paper. And it depends on the type of paper you're using, depends on the area you're in, how wet this will stay or not. And because I'm trying to make circles and not have it move too much, I want to make sure that it's shiny, but it's not really pooling anywhere. I want it to have some moisture, gives me a little bit of time to work, but I don't want it to pool. All right, and because I am wanting this turquoisey blue color to be really nice and bold and strong. I'm going to place it on there first. Maybe just a touch here or there. I could also have a white area that appears on this painting, because oftentimes when you see bokeh in a photograph or on in a scene, it will, and I'm drying the back of my brush because I want to make sure I don't put too much water on the paper now, but that bokeh will often look like just a white spot. Maybe a touch more yellow up in here. And I have to be careful because I am getting a little busy, because this painting is already busy. It will help that the green will merge somewhat with the background green, the deep background green, because then it won't have as much going on. And then I'm going to stay back from the edge. Well, I was going to stay back. I didn't stay back too well. From the shapes I've already placed on the paper, because it will move as I'm putting the color down. And so I need to give it a little bit of room to move in toward those shapes and not possibly take out the shape that is already on the paper. And then the other thing is that having some lighter edges is interesting with these small circular shapes. And I've got some openings amongst the flower pieces here that I need to fill in. And I need more perylene. I had a lot of Quin Lilac on my brush. I'm going to go ahead and go over and get some of the New Gamboge as well. I think I want some more up in here. So I'm feeling like on the left side that I want that green to be darker. The rose and, the Quin purple is nice. I like the purples, but I don't think I'm going to have to go back up into those guys because they were already drying. So I'm trying to talk and get this on quickly. The other colors besides the green I'm liking, but I don't think the green is dark enough. It's kind of flat looking once it's drying. Okay. And maybe a touch down here as well, since this was starting to dry a little bit. And then I think I'm actually going to, because this is still a little shiny, I can come back into some of these areas as long as I move with some speed. And I can just darken up some of the green. Ooh, I should not touch there. Bad. It was starting to dry right there, and I got going and wasn't paying attention. So it's better if I just leave that area alone. Now this is really, these blues are really strong. They're very vibrant. So I'm going to just pull my brush in to that just a little bit and lift just a touch. I do like that turquoise blue. It's gorgeous. Okay. for bokeh, that would work better. All right, so I will have to dry this and then I can come back and add one more layer to it, so I'll be right back. All right, I have dried the painting and I'm going to pull out more of the perylene. And I may leave some of those purple lines, but I think I'm going to reduce it so that it's not as many marks. And it's partly because this is not a background that I have tried before, and when I'm doing these small little paintings, it's kind of like doing a color study. I'm just testing things out, and like I said, if it doesn't quite work, it's not that big, I can always try it again. Not that I really have the time to right now, but it is redoable. Okay, so I have my new gamboge out this time instead of the Quin Gold. I wanted to go with a little more, a little brighter green, and then I have the perylene green. And because I have both of these brushes, well, I'll probably paint with this. I'm trying to decide. I'll probably paint with my larger one this time, because that way I'll make bigger shapes. So I'll go ahead and grab a different brush to apply the water with. And the reason that you dry the background, that you don't want to go back over it without drying it, unless it's still somewhat shiny, is because you want to set the watercolor just a touch. You want it to, even if it's a non-staining pigment, then if you dry it, that will make it so that as I'm applying water or paint, it kind of sets the color. It's not going to move as easily. I could, if I brushed over what I had done in the background vigorously or with a little bit more effort, then I could have lifted some of those first layers, or that first layer. So it does help to dry it and then add water to go back and add another layer. Okay, actually I think I'm going to paint with this one. This is my 16, and it's bigger than the small one that I have out. I'm going to grab, so I've got a greener mixture. Maybe I'll have it be dark in some places. And then I think I'm going to just kind of fill in leave some of it peeking through here and there. So I still have some of the purple in there. And I think I'm going to come back with, I think I want just a touch of the rust in there. So that it picks up just a little bit of the hummingbird's color. So that will work together better. And then I'm going to go back to the Quin Purple. In just a couple places. And then I should probably leave it alone, because I think if I mess with it too much, I'm going to start getting muted colors because things are going to start mixing. There's a little place right on this edge that I either didn't get color or it had started to dry already, and I want it to kind of dry a little more evenly if I can. So now it's definitely dark enough. Some of those lines that I had going on in there are pushed back. They're not as prevalent, and that's what I would rather it be. I want there to be some information in the background, but I don't necessarily want it to be standing out as much as it was. And it was also more muted than I wanted. I decided, since I was working on this other background, I might as well go ahead and include it with this video. And so I've got, the one thing I need to get out is a little more of the Quinn purple. Have that out. And I've got the Perylene green and some New Gamboge. And I think I want more Perylene. Okay. So I'm going to use the kind of my medium brush here, the 16. And some of the paint that I put on the first pass, I dried it, but I didn't dry it really well. So just so you know, some of this may move a little. If it's still a little cool to the touch, that means that it's not quite dry. And I was wanting just to get on with it. So I don't know if you noticed, but some of the pigment was pooling at the bottom of my painting just a little bit right there. I need a touch more Perylene. A little bit of the New Gamboge with it. And I will probably be, well, I know I will, be going back up into my lighter yellow green areas as well. Just in general, I want more color behind the bird. I want the bird to stand out like it did in the photo. It was a very deep background, very dark. Okay, so I'm trying to put on the green kind of with some speed here, and then I can go into, last time I did the lighter colors first, and I just decided to start with the green this time, and that means that I'm going to have to move quickly so that I can get to my lighter colors, and also I need to lift down here at the bottom right quick because a lot of that dark color is pooling. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the blue. May end up having a halo of that turquoise peeking through, but it won't be as strong, which is good. Kind of like a little bit of the turquoise in there still. I may not like it later, but it's good right now. All right, that one and a touch. I'm going to go ahead and there's quite a bit of moisture still on the painting. It's still shiny. Whoops. I'm trying to get out brighter yellow that's not got a lot of green in it. And I'm just not having success. So I'm going to switch my yellows. I think I need to clean my New Gamboge. So this is my Hansa medium. And yeah, I might just use it just by itself, because it's going to be definitely a stronger green. I like that. And just going to kind of touch around where I had some lighter areas where I had that green before. And that kind of chartreuse green might be a really nice contrast to the red that will be in the flowers. One more time. Okay. Now, one of the other things that you can do which is another thing to play with. While this is slightly damp, and I have some paint on my brush, I can tap and get a little bit of splatter that sometimes causes a little bloom, but it also gives just a little texture to the background. And with flowers, sometimes those backgrounds have little textural things in them, and it's just kind of a fun way to create some texture and pattern. And I'm not trying to have it show up a lot, so you have to see the painting a little closer to really see it in there. But it causes, because those little droplets might be a little wetter than where they're hitting, it can cause a little bloom. And so I think I'm going to leave it at that, because even though those blue areas are maybe a little different than I was imagining originally, I think it will work out okay with the red now, because they are not as strong, they're not as bold with the Quin purple on top of them. It won't stand out as much. So I have darkened the whole thing. I'm happier with it, and I think I'm going to leave the video there. And if you have a tip, trick, or technique that you might like to see in a future video, please leave a comment below. And I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. And depending on how busy I am, it may be a week or two before I get the next video out. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.